What's up, everybody? This is Bruce, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a new guest on my show. So we have Moon here.
Hello.
Nice to meet you, Moon, and we are very happy for you to be here.
Thank you.
So Moon, could you do a short introduction of yourself to my audience first?
Sure. Well, hello everyone. My name is Moon. I am from Morocco, not Monaco,
Okay.
which is Monaco. Well, I'm from Morocco, and Morocco is in North Africa. I am an Arab, and I speak Arabic as a first language. Some in our country speak Tamazight, and French is our second language. Nice to meet you.
Okay, so Moon and I have been talking about making this video together for like several weeks now, right? But between the spring festivals and other things, it kept getting pushed back. But finally, we get a chance to make this video together today. So you told me the other day at dinner that you started learning this language when you were a university student.
Right. I started professionally learning it when I was as a university student. But the first time I was introduced to English was when I was 13, middle school. Yes.
Okay, so you told me the other day that
Right.
English is not even mandatory in Morocco, which means you don't have to learn English in school, right? So I want to know your motivation there. What motivates you to start learning this language? Given that I'm assuming that no one around you at the time spoke this language,
Right.
you might be the only one who wanted to learn this language.
Sure. Okay, to start with, more people nowadays speak English in my country. It's
okay.
getting more recognition than before. Around that time, English was a third language to learn. The mandatory language is French, right? So English was a third language starting in high school. Now it changed. It's in middle school. Before, you would learn English for the first time only in high school if you're major in science. But if you major in literature, then you could choose Spanish. So that's why I said maybe it's not really mandatory. So for me, in short, what motivated me was a different culture. It was like a new world open for me, since all I could see and live was what's around me at that time, right? And I was born in a bit of a conservative family, so being open to the world was new. And I started watching a lot of Korean series at that time. It was just something I found interesting, and there were no Arabic translation. So most content was translated into English or not even translated. So now I can know two languages at the same time, English and Korean.
You have definitely reached a very good level of proficiency in this language. So I wonder, how did you start learning this language? What was like the first step that you did at the time?
Yes, I actually believe in order to learn any language, you have to start with being interested in it.
So how did you get interested in this language at the time? What did you do?
All right, so to start with, I was not interested in learning the language itself. I never said I want to learn English. So it was about my interest, what I liked most at that time. I started watching videos without subtitles and not even understanding what they were talking about. But what was interesting for me is the content, right? So over time, I could hear some repetitive words, and I could understand using gesture and such. So my aim was not to learn English. I didn't have a goal as I need to learn it for my academic reasons or for any personal reasons. I just wanted to enjoy and have fun and keep watching videos of the things that I like at that time.
I think this is like so profound because like you started learning this language in a very subtle way, right? Which means you were not giving yourself any pressure at all right at the beginning.
Yes.
And you started to build up this interest for this language. This is like amazing.
Right. And the first time I was introduced to English was in my third year in middle school.
Third year.
And it was a subject that I was interested in because I could notice that I know some words that I heard before, right? And my excitement made me want to learn the English songs I used to listen to. At first, it was just something that was good to my ear, and now I actually want to learn it because it's more fun to sing along your favorite song,
Of course.
or singer.
Yeah.
So I think I started with things that sparked my interest instead of thinking it's a task. And my grammar was not good, of course, at that time, and I did not focus on grammar, but I focused on speaking skills more than writing or grammar. Yes. And over time, I think when I was more aware of many vocabulary already, or of the structure of the language, which was very important, then it was easy for me to learn grammar naturally. Some things just make sense to you, right?
Yeah.
Instead of learning the basic rules. So learning it professionally was not so hard when I started at the university.
Okay, this is nice. I got another question for you though. Okay, so you speak English just like a native speaker, right? In terms of expression and word choice. And I want to let you know that in China, many people have extensive vocabulary. But when it comes to speaking, they struggle. So I want to know a little bit about your process of learning new words. Like, how do you internalize a new word?
So I think the education system in China is similar to the education system in Morocco, mostly traditional way of teaching.
Yeah.
So they give you tons of vocabulary and you have to memorize like 20 to 30. You don't even understand the vocabulary or how to use it because there is no practice.
So true.
It's the same, it's similar. And I don't think that's the right way to learn new vocabulary. What actually helped me most was also connecting to foreigners through apps.
Through apps.
So first thing I started with just watching my favorite content so I could hear mostly vloggers, and vloggers are not professional most of the time.
Yeah.
They use normal basic flowy English, right? So I was just getting to know like the trends, how they speak and such. Then I started using apps to talk with people, and that was the first time that I said, oh, I can't just listen to English. I have to use it. And it was hard at first. I was a bit shy. I couldn't talk or express myself more because I was afraid of mistakes. And I think that's an important point to talk about today as well. Never be afraid of mistakes. If you're just a language learner, you have to be proud instead because you're learning a new language.
True.
Well, going back to the topic, talking with natives and every day almost at that time. I used to have an app where there were many clubs of my own interest as well. We could gather there. The first time I joined, I was just listening. Second, I was a bit encouraged to say hello. Third, I started expressing my ideas better. By listening to how they use vocabulary, I could learn new words, not from a book, but mostly from how someone would use them. And I feel like that's how I got, how I grasped most of the vocabulary.
And so how did you polish your grammar structure? Did you read some books to improve your grammar? What did you do there?
My grammar was not very good,
Okay.
as my vocabulary was. Okay. And I figured that once I joined university. Now, I'm not just learning it based on interest. I'm serious about it. And I'm taking professional courses at the university. And I figured grammar, I lacked the basics of grammar because I never understood the simple basics one, like verbs and adjectives and nouns and how the structure was built. It was just natural. It just made sense. But of course, we make mistakes once and then. And so I had to study grammar. Yeah, the boring way.
The boring way.
Yeah, I had to study grammar, right, for academic results. And over time, I watched over my language and how I use it. When I became a teacher, then I understood the basics of grammar.
Okay.
So I will tell you the difference. First, you just speak naturally. You don't make mistakes. But what made it better for me is understanding the structure of the language. And I feel like most schools don't actually talk about this. Okay. When we learn grammar first, they just teach us like some basic rules like nouns, verbs, but they don't teach you what's the function of a noun, what's the function of a verb. I remember in my university, I learned the function of all these in the third year instead of learning it in the second year instead of learning it in the first year. In the first year, I had to learn articles and the tenses, like the past tense, the past continuous and such, but not the rules of the language. I feel like once you know the rules of the language in a very simple, fun way, you will get to understand it and you will comprehend it well in your brain, and you will have the right structure to use.
So many people in China have this habit of, they always get stuck into this habit of translating everything in their mind first
Yeah.
before they speak this language.
Right.
And I'm pretty sure that we all have been there.
Right,
Right.
definitely.
So how did you overcome this?
That's something I tell my students as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to speak English fluently, you should think in English. If you think in Chinese, then translate in English. It doesn't work that way.
So how did you train yourself to think in English?
I realized that I started thinking in English also in university,
Okay.
because my classmates at that time were Moroccan just as me, but I never used Arabic with them. I always used English to communicate with them. And so I surrounded my world in English.
Okay.
My daily routine, and the best way was how I expressed myself. It was hard for me, growing up as a child, it was really hard for me to express myself, to express what I want. I was the silent child mostly, and my native language never helped. Then I learned something called spoken word poetry, and I started writing poetry. And I think writing helped me with grammar a lot and with vocabulary a lot. Because I was writing poetry, I had to look for new vocabulary and for rhyme zones and such. So it's something I'm passionate about, something I want to learn. I want to express my feelings beautifully. And what helped me as well was not only writing my poetry and learning new vocabulary, let alone grammar, it was also, it's spoken. So I had to record myself and hear myself and perform it in front of others. And I just fell in love with how English sounds like and how I can make it sound beautiful alongside music. Yes, I think that inspired me mostly and helps me mostly during my time. So I always tell my students, you don't try to train yourself not to think in Chinese first. The Chinese structure is very different from English structure. And so because they got used to learning Chinese and English at the same time, or learning English through Chinese, when I teach them a new word, they have to find the meaning in Chinese first, then they understand the English word. So I tell them, then you don't have to translate it into Chinese. You can just learn it for the first time through English.
Okay. So in China, many people believe that if you want to be good at English, you have to stay in a foreign country for a good amount of time first. And when I say what I mean by foreign country is, of course, countries like the USA or the UK. So, and you are like joining this conversation right now and proving the audience wrong, because you taught yourself, a very good level of English in Morocco, right? You have never been to an English-speaking country.
I've never been to an English-speaking
So
country.
what's your view on this? Do you think that it is a necessity for you to go to another country
All right.
just to be good at this language?
So to be more precise, I've never been to a foreign country, but as I said, I spoke English in my country, mostly with friends, and I made it my first language. When I communicate, most of my friends, they don't have to be foreigners. They're actually Moroccans, just as me. But what I focused on is the fact that I can use English in my daily routine. Since I majored in English studies, I had many classmates who also spoke English. My professors spoke English instead of French. Yes, so it was really easy process for me. So for those who think they must travel to a foreign country, I think some people, even when they travel to foreign countries, they don't go outside and meet new people. They just stay in their comfort zone. So
that was me, like the
Right.
first 4 years in the US.
I think you have to focus on why, like the purpose or the reason behind why people think this. So I think the reason behind it is you will surround yourself with the language. You will go outside, go to the grocery store. You have to speak English with the shop clerk, right? So the key, or let's say the less expensive way, surround yourself with the language.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing.
You don't have to go to
A foreign
another country just to
Learn a new language.
Yeah. And I mean, it's all about internet right now, right? These days. So you can create the environment by yourself.
We forgot the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays it's so easy.
It's so easy. You have YouTube.
Right.
It's free, right?
So many, like as I said, so many content there.
Yeah.
And also for those who feel a bit uncomfortable to talk to new people, like I did, because I spoke, I had a lot of phone calls with foreigners. You could just use AI now. You could just call ChatGPT. Before coming to you, I called ChatGPT in the morning and I was just talking or brainstorming my ideas.
Chatting.
About anything, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can customize ChatGPT or so DeepSeek as well. Yeah, in China.
Yeah.
Right.
It's free, easy to access to, you
And
know.
you can customize it. Just learn. You can customize
Yeah.
it. Just learn how to do it. Because DeepSeek or ChatGPT will use advanced language with you, but you can always make it simple, always give them, or I say, tell the AI your
make
goal.
it simple for you.
Yeah, your goal.